Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Nigeria Now, where we keep you up to date with the happenings in Nigeria. A lot has happened from weekend down to this very moment, where we're saying that in Kaduna, early hours of this morning, the Nigerian Air Force plane crashed. But then, thank God, there was no any casualty. The pilot is alive, and then they're trying to check how serious the accident is or the crash is, but then we're happy that nothing happened to the pilot that was actually in the aircraft while patrolling the area there in Kaduna State. So you can actually join us through Facebook, YouTube, drop your comment on other issues we would love to discuss this afternoon. I'm Sarah Elisha Dasho, and I'm doing the program with Rachel Tanzi. Good afternoon, Rachel.
Afternoon, Seven.
All right, without much waste of time, we will love to start discussing. We are saying that the federal government retirees are actually complaining or groaning over pension arrears, which they are supposed to have been paid, but then because of the federal government, some things happening over there, they have been unable to get that. And Rachel, these are one of the people you and I have talked about over and over and
Yes.
over, the fact that we need to see the fact that these retirees are actually well taken care of. We can call them senior citizens because they should be treated with so much respect, utmost respect. And then here we are seeing the fact that they have not received their arrears in a long period of time, and that's talking about the federal civil service. So that is to say that those in the state are actually getting their arrears, but then we're seeing that this is coming from the federal level, and you just can't help but wonder what really is the problem. Is it coming from PENCOM? Are they the reason why they're unable to get this their arrears as it should be? Because I know that this should be citizens we are not supposed to play with whatsoever.
Yes.
We will recall there was a case we had where some of them were even collapsing while trying to get their pension, and so you just can't help but ask the question, why do we have their own arrears being delayed? Because these are people that ideally, if you are to say in an ideal situation, they should be the first to be paid even before those working
Sure.
because of their age. But then we're seeing that this is what is happening presently, that they have not gotten their arrears. And so I think this is where we really need to look into what can be done, because this is not the first time we're seeing such issue coming up. Let's not even just concentrate on even the civil service retirees alone. We can also even look at even our retired armies. They have had issues like this. Our retired policemen have same issue like this. So you
Yes.
just can't help but wonder what tends to be the problem. And then this is where you will say that somebody somewhere is sleeping on his duty as usual. And that is why we have
Yes,
issues
Seven.
like this coming up over and over, where it is expected that what justice should prevail when taking care of things like this, but then we see that it's not being prevalent eventually. So you just can't help but wonder what really is the problem. Why do we keep having this issue coming up over and over again?
The major concern for me, Sela, is the fact that it has been captured in the budget. So far, so good for all these years that it has been delayed. However, funds have not been released. And we know one thing is for sure. We are currently having a challenge and a concern where we are having more than two budgets running concurrently. And
Yes.
all of these budgets have been funded. We have the supplementary budget, we have the 2023 budget that has been extended to the
December.
31st of December. We are having the 2024/25 budget that has already been approved. We have a supplementary budget that was approved last year. That is the last quarter of 2023, and we have another supplementary budget that have just recently been approved. And when you hear the certain speeches and the breakdown for what these supplementary budgets have been is for and what is going to be, certain things as pension, gratuity, arrears, wage rewards, and all of that are captured into it. We can even leave the supplementary budget aside. What about the main budget that has been carried forward, that of 2023, and we still have that of 2024 that are all active at the moment? And pensions are captured in every budget, and yet no funds released. Not forgetting that however the case may be, revenue is being generated, money is being borrowed to fund budget. So there's no how we can sit down and say these funds are not available. It's impossible to say so. If you say it's not available, it's simply one thing: corruption. Somebody has done something with that money, but it's meant to be available. It's meant to be given to these people. And as at this point, I will say Labour is sleeping, because as far as I am concerned, their voices by design is not just for those who are actively working. It's also for those who have been retired. Now, this means that for years now, there are a lot of things that Labour could have made the government hear them by fire, by force, if I must say that, Celine, because we are looking at certain areas. This is the complaint coming from the pensioners and the retirees, that certain upward review has been implemented 15 years ago, have been signed, have been passed, have been agreed, documented, all the legal proceedings for it, and is still not implemented. And we can take that also as minimum wage this time around, not for those who are actively working, but for those who have been retired. Just as we are seeing how we want it to move from 30,000. Imagine if the basic, when it comes to retired to pension, was 15,000, and there's an upward review for it to be 25,000 15 years ago, and it hasn't been implemented. It means that the union responsible for these retirees to be heard have been silent. So not only do we have the government sleeping on their job and not taking our senior citizens seriously, we also have the union that is expected, which of course is still under the NLC, are not doing anything about it. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a situation that heads should roll and people should answer for it, because I think it's criminal. Okay, it's very criminal by every kind of, just for the fact that it has been captured in our budget. It means either way, if we have 26 trillion naira as a budget and we have found money by revenue generated and money borrowed to fund that budget, it means something, somehow, someone, somewhere has tampered with retirement funds, pensions, schemes, gratuity, and all of that. Someone somewhere is tampering with it, and then there is need for a probe in that sector of government, in that sector of payment and all of that, because PENCOM will work with the funds that have been given to them. Now, I'm not entirely taking them out of the picture, but yes, they will work with the funds that have been given to them. What the federal government have disbursed to them from the budget that has been allocated to them, PENCOM will work with it. At the same time, why are you as PENCOM not pushing it and also playing your own part and the role? Or perhaps they have pushed it and nothing has been done about it. There are so many key players involved in this situation, and I just hope that everybody stands up and play their own role perfectly, because no, it is something unimaginable, but for some reason, I mean, the hardship that these retirees are going through is unimaginable, but for some reason it's their reality. And then it's not funny at all. You don't have to wait to be in their shoe to understand.
Yes, honestly, Rachel, because just even when you take a look at some of their faces, or you see the way they wait, it looks more like they are waiting for a money that they didn't work for. And we know that this is the money that they actually contribute. It was deducted while they were in active service. And then right now that they demanded for over a year, Rachel, you could just imagine what these people are going through. So how do they survive? And we know with old age comes certain illnesses, certain things come up, and then they do not have what to take care of them. So just like you said, there are certain key players. I remember when Wale Ed was trying to get some of the funds from PENCOM, and I remember a number of stakeholders were talking. I remember Labour coming out to say, do not tamper with the with money that is meant for pensioners and all of that. And they said no, that whatever they will use the money for a very reasonable. So that is to say, Rachel, there was money somewhere. So
for you to want it,
yes, how come PENCOM has money to borrow to the federal government and you do not have money to pay to your retirees? Something seems not to add up in this whole thing. So just like you said, is either somebody is diverting these funds because you really cannot tell what really is happening, that they are included in the budget and yet they are not being paid. So we are hoping that, and I'm wondering why it took this long, a whole year before it's being brought to the attention of the entire public. That is, say these people have been suffering in silence. So I'm hoping that there should be a review as quick as possible,
Yes.
because they need to be, taken care of. Now, we saw that during the weekend, during a wedding, there was the issue of a bomb blast, or suicide bombers rather. And then we saw that a number of people lost their life, casualties were there, and we're seeing that the president is giving his assurance to the people of Borno, to Nigerians as well, because what happened in Borno State could have happened to any other state.
Yes.
And we see that the president vowed that he's going to make sure that those who are behind it will actually have to pay for it. We've seen the US are giving their own support and all of that. And this is not the first time we're seeing even international bodies coming up say, you know what, we're going to help you if you're in need of talking about machineries, we're going to give you all that is needed and all of that. And then there are times where I remember during the Buhari regime where we said, no, we're capable of handling this whole thing. Now, we started a conversation in the morning with you, Rachel, with the fact that this is not the first time we're having the issue of suicide bombing. Earlier this year, there was a prank in Plateau State where we saw one of those guys that went there. Yes, it was a prank, because after checking, they discovered that it wasn't. But Rachel, we clearly said that this might be sending a signal somehow.
Yeah, we did.
We said that the fact that it was a prank does not mean he should not be questioned, certain things should not be asked, because this might just be a preamble for many more. I remember those years back when we're having the issue of bombing left, right, and center. I remember in Plateau State, the Jos Main Market, the twin bomb that was there, while others were trying to run to the other way, they met with, and that was, in fact, the second bomb killed more people than the first one, and all of that. And it's expected that by now we should have, maybe to some extent, say we have outgrown the issue of, that means we've put all that is needed, but we've lost our guard down, and no wonder these people are coming up again. And one good thing about whether the Boko Haram or the suicide bombers, their tactics is always the same. They always target where they know they will get crowd. So it's either weddings, church, schools, market, anywhere that they know that they are crowd. And I'm expecting that by now we should have security agency everywhere. Now, with what is happening in Borno, this is when we'll now see the security agency will try to beef up security in Borno State. But how about Katsina? How about Zamfara? How about Kaduna? How about Imo? Because you never can tell, but remember the paper, they are saying that there are over or about 30 suicide bombers around. And we really cannot tell where and how, what will be their next assignment, because just like you said in the morning, they have nothing to lose. They have signed for it that they will lose their life, and you only can't tell what are they fighting for. This look more like those movies you watch and then you hear them saying it's for a just cause, but you just can't help but wonder, what is this just cause right now? So, I mean, yes, it's kind of relieving to know that the president is vowing to bring these people to book, but until they are being brought to book, what can be done presently to make sure that we do not have a reoccurrence of this thing coming up over and over again?
Stella, anytime there's a successful attack on the lives and property of the citizens of any place, it means that the government have failed them. Regardless of the assurances and the promises that the government will make thereafter, that's already failed its people. Because your job is to make sure that doesn't happen to them in the first place. It has happened, and that is why I am coming from the angle where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assuring us and promising bringing, the suicide justice over the suicide attack. It might sound sensitive, Stella, but when you look deep, when you read between the lines, when you look at everything, it's an insensitive statement to make. First of all, you need to apologize to Nigerians. Sorry, I failed you. I've not been able to keep you safe as expected. It's an apology that Nigerians need first, before a promise, before an assurance. You need to apologize to Nigerians for not making sure that the lives that were lost, for not making sure that they were safe, rather, and not lost. It's an apology, first of all, because you have failed in protecting this life. You have failed in protecting the people of Gaza. You have failed. we can talk about this for every other failure security wise. It comes with an apology, first of all, because you are the commander in chief of the armed forces of this country. So when there is an attack, a successful attack by a terrorist group, this is not one of those cases that we do not know who are the people behind this attack. We know it's the Boko Haram. It means that by now we should have a government that is 100 steps ahead of Boko Haram insurgency. But that has not been the case. Rather, we have watched it metamorphose from one kind of insurgents to another type. Banditry, herdsmen, Fulani, this and that, unknown gunmen, farmers, herders clash. That's what we have seen it transform over the period of years. Now, can you bring justice to the people that have been attacked? No. You know why? Because justice will be catching the culprit. Well, the culprit are the suicide bombers, so they are dead. There's no justice in that case, because it's different. So like if something has been done to me and the killer is out large, then you, by bringing that person to book, is bringing justice to me, some closure to my family and all of that. But the people responsible for these deaths are already dead. You cannot bring justice to them. As far as I'm concerned, you already know who are the people behind this. Is Boko Haram. So what we want to see is not an assurance of justice, it's a promise of it not happening again. And secondly, results. That it doesn't happen again and we see it not happening. Because the question is, how are you going to bring justice? We already know who. This is not some mystery murder case that need to be solved. And oh, no, it's not. It's plainly out there. You need to promise Nigerians that you're going to do better, and you need to show us that you're doing better. We need to see results, because that is what we want to see and know. Knowing fully well that there are suicide bombers at large and out there still within Borno State, and who knows, they might have moved to neighboring states and all of that. And just as you've mentioned, the states that have been constantly prone to attack and have been under attack for all this period since for a long period of time, year in, 2009, year out, from exactly for that long period of time. Is you tell Nigerians, you make a promise, because first you're supposed to start with an apology. As far as I'm concerned, you have failed as a commander-in-chief, and then you make a promise and then you stick to it. Let's see results at the end of the day. Meaning tomorrow, for the 2 female members that you have in custody, you are able to interrogate them, get meaningful information out of them, and be able to arrest, intercept, or stop those other. If your job is not that good, that you are able to stop the other suicide bombers that are out there at large, then we are still in for trouble. We want to see results, because there's little or nothing much you can do about what has happened. We already know who are the perpetrators. It's not some mystery that needs to be solved anymore. Do the right thing by Nigerians. This is what we have had our government always beating around the bush, and never pointing or addressing a situation exactly as it is. Even when a blind man can see the problem for what it is, the Nigerian government always claims not to see it for what it is. And as long as we keep having such an approach to insecurity in the country, I think we are still where we are 10 years ago. Honestly, ever since we started having these issues.
This is a situation where it will be very difficult for you to explain to a common man that justice will prevail on the long run, because it somehow looks and feels like justice is weak in this situation, Rachel, because it looks more like these people are having an upper hand.
Yes.
And you just can't help but question the security, the intelligence of the Nigerian army, the police, the civil servants. I'm sorry, talking about the Nigerian civil defense and all of that. This is where you want to question the intelligence. You want to call the entire intelligence department and say, exactly what are you people doing? Yes, your ears are supposed to be on the ground to hear information. And that is why we see them disguised in a way that you don't even know you are with an intelligence person. Why? Because they want to get information. You just can't help but ask, what is happening? You know, while you were just talking, Rachel, my mind just had to, I had to cast my mind back to the series of suicide attacks we've had. I remember that happened in Jos, in the mosques, and then I actually saw when the cops were passing, Rachel, and I know how I was traumatized by such issue. So not to even talk about other people. So I'm really, really hoping, just like you said, we need the Nigerian government to actually tackle this issue of insecurity. Let's take the president for his word. He has vowed that he's going to actually deal with them.
Yes.
So let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that he will do that, because just like you rightly stated, your number one responsibility is to protect lives and property. Once you fail, I don't know what else you're doing. Maybe you should step down for another person to take up. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and we hope that we will not just hear the opposition party pointing and accusing finger. This is where I need to see a united Nigeria, Rachel, for us to come together regardless of our party. What can we do concerning this? Because this is a common enemy. It's not only attacking those of the APC, PDP, Labour Party. No, it's attacking every Nigerian. So I'm hoping that I'll see them supporting the president to fight that. Well, that's how far we can go on the program. Thank you, Rachel, for
You're
doing
welcome,
this with me.
Sele.
Thank you to our viewers and every other person that made this program a success. We look forward again to doing this tomorrow. Please do have a great day ahead.